Do you ever wonder why some tech teams move fast and win while others are stuck in firefighting and blame? Today, I'm going to dig into how to manage the culture of a tech team. With a good culture, you can get a lot more out of your team. It's important to have high expectations, but also to let them self-manage. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but let's dig into it. Let's dig into some what to do's and what not to do's. My name is Matt. I'm your fractional CTO, and I've been in the business for 25 years. And in my quarter of a century, I've worked with tons of different tech teams, development, DevOps, like any aspect of technology. I've worked with a lot of teams, a lot of different people, and there are some that have been amazing to work with. There are some that were not so much. And then there were others that started off kind of mediocre, not to dig at the people, but the team itself was functioning in a mediocre fashion, and they actually improved quite a lot. So you don't have to always have your top tier players on every team. You can get a lot out of anyone on the team. As long as they're willing to work hard and learn and work smart, you can achieve the results that you need for your business. The first thing we want to cover is what not to do. First thing that comes up is endless meetings. Technology teams, they do not like meetings. A software developer in particular, or engineer brain person, a lot of times you'll hear at the end of the meeting, this could have been an email, and it probably could have. So every meeting you have has to have a purpose, has to provide value to the team, has to provide value to what they're working on. One thing I've done in the past has been a no meeting zone. I would do that myself. I would get up early and get started early before anyone could schedule meetings. So I'd work from 6 to 10 without any interruptions. And then after that, we could have meetings and do our stand-ups and things like that. You can do that as a team to say, okay, all meetings have to be in the afternoon or something like that. I know every team wants to have their stand-up at like 9 o'clock, but that doesn't work for everyone. So you got to be accommodating, especially with a distributed team. Even if you're US based, you have 4 different time zones to juggle. And that's a big difference between, 9 a.m. Eastern time is going to be way too early if you have someone Pacific time. Okay. The second aspect is the blame game and finger pointing. What happens when you get stuck into the blame game and finger pointing? Well, first, that's just a symptom of a poorly managed team. Blame is kind of important sometimes. For instance, if someone breaks the build, we need to know who it is, and we need to teach them to do a better job before they commit code to the repo. But that's not really what we're talking about. What we're talking about is when a project fails or stalls, we're going to blame Frank. Or the typical thing that everyone does is we're going to blame the guy that just left. All the problems are his because he's not there to defend himself. That's a classic engineer move. So if you see that, call him out. That's not your problem. The problem are the people that are still there, and how do you resolve that problem? First, you don't blame people. It starts with leadership. The leadership cannot blame people. If you start blaming people for things that they do or mistakes that they make, you're not encouraging the team to try new things. You're encouraging them to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. A practical prompt is to ask, what can we do differently so that this doesn't happen again? For instance, the broken build. What can we do differently, Matt, right? If I broke the build so that this doesn't happen again. Let me come up with my own answers if I broke the build. Let Frank come up with his own answers if he broke the build, or whomever. Think about how you can help guide that discussion versus a top-down approach and dictate what should happen. If you're struggling with that, book some time with me. I'd love to meet you and get to know a little bit more about what you have going on and see how I can help you out. The third what not to do is processes. It's important to have simple processes in place. For example, with software development in particular, there is a deployment process. The way we do it, we have 3 environments. We have a dev/QA environment, we have a stage environment, and we have a production environment. When any pull request or PR is completed in the dev and stage environments, a build automatically happens. You don't need to do anything. It just kicks it off. That's the beauty of CI/CD. CI/CD, if you don't know, it's continuous integration, continuous deployment. Now, for a production environment, we want to control that very specifically. Sometimes there are database changes that need to happen. Sometimes things can be coordinated with other systems, or there's going to be downtime for whatever reason. We need to coordinate with the end users. And if it's a publicly available application, we don't want to just have it deployed anytime someone commits to that branch. So that's a lightweight process, something simple, something clean, something standard in the industry. So think the opposite of that. What is a process that could be overbearing? Well, let's say we had a bunch of hoops that people had to jump through to get a PR approved. They have to have reviews by 6 other people, or things like that. That's going to bog things down. That's going to slow everyone up. That's going to make it not fun to work at your organization. They will not want to be on your team. All developers, all engineers love to solve problems. Let me say that again. All engineers and all software developers love to solve problems. Give them a problem, let them solve it, get out of their way, and let them do it the way they think they should do it, because they will come up with an idea different from yours. You hired them to think. Let's get out of the way. Let's let them think. It may not be the way you would do it, and it may be worse or it may be better than you had envisioned. But once you have a solution, then you can go from there. You can say, all right, this is great. We're on the right track, or this needs to have some rework. Did we consider this or this other scenario over here? Let them decide what's the best solution from a technical standpoint. One example is Atlassian killed their bug triage committee, and they've automatically shipped code faster because they didn't have another process in place. They had too many processes. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. Okay, so that's what not to do. Here's some what to do's. Okay, so that covers the things we shouldn't do. What should we do? Let's copy some things that are already in place that are working for other teams. The first thing you can do is make a quick decision. Make decisions fast. High-performing teams and high-performing individuals make decisions with 80% of the information. We don't always have all the information, but we decide and we move forward, because it's a decision imperfectly made now is better than the perfect decision tomorrow. Amazon has a thing called disagree and commit, and the ends analysis paralysis. So think about that. Let's say I'm part of a team and someone decides, and they have authority to decide this, that we're going to do XYZ in a particular fashion. I don't agree with that. I know we have to do XYZ, but I don't agree with the way that we want to do it. I can voice my concerns. We can discuss it as a team. And after it's decided that we will continue down the road that I don't agree with, I still need to commit to it. I need to say, all right, this is the way we're doing it, and let's go down that path and assume success. And doing that will help you go in a direction. It's always better to go in a direction than to sit still. Another thing we can do is we can show progress often. With Scrum, I talked about that before. We ship software every 2 weeks. We do a demo every 2 weeks. Sometimes teams have found that if we do a demo every week, even if it's just a recorded video that you can post somewhere that people can see or send it via email, you get key stakeholders involved and excited for the project and the progress that the team is making. Progress is important. A little progress every day will get your project over the finish line. The immediate effect of that is it drowns out internal politics and it builds momentum. If you watch any sports, momentum is key. Momentum in any team, whether it's athletics or software development or just a management team or executive team, momentum. Little wins every day will help you get to your goal. Third aspect of things that we need to do is share outcomes. Every software engineer loves to see the positive effect that their software is having on the end users. I worked on a project that saved this company a ton of time. I've mentioned it before, and the key stakeholder was ecstatic when we published this to production and we had a go live event, and she ran through several of those claims. It was a claims management system, and she probably would have hugged me if we were in the same room. And she said, now I don't have to hire 5 new people. Think of that. We just saved 5 new job requisitions from being filled. So now the existing team can stay the same size, and everyone can do their job quicker, and everyone has better job satisfaction because of the tools that we built. And when an engineer sees that, they can connect with the users and know that their software is making an impact. We all want to make an impact in this world. Okay, last section, make the culture stick. So the first thing is tiny, consistent rituals. For example, culture is more about behavior than slogans. I remember in the dot-com bubble burst, everyone had a foosball table and paid lunches and stuff like that. That was a culture. That was a culture for that time. We don't need to do that anymore. A lot of people, the culture is we work remotely or we only have to come to the office once a week. Sometimes that is the culture. A culture is also we love to learn. We love to build things. We love to ship software. All these different slogans can turn out to be your culture if you feed it, if you really walk the walk and talk the talk. Okay, so here's some concrete things you can do to build your culture, especially as an engineering team. You can ask your engineers, anonymously might be the way to go here because not everyone will be willing to answer this directly and have their name revealed. You can ask, would you recommend this team to another engineer? All right, let's sit with that for a minute. Think about that. Are you leading a team where other engineers would want to work there? And the people on your team would refer their friends. I know I've worked on a lot of teams where the answer would be no. I've worked on a lot of teams where the answer would be, this is the best team ever. I love working with these people. We're doing great work, and everything in between. You're in charge of that if you're leading a team. You're also in charge of that if you're a part of the team. Be part of the solution. As cliche as it sounds, be positive, be part of the solution, be a good team member, and try to help everyone win. And then also you can watch retention and see what top performers say about that question. Another thing you can do is you can treat change like a production launch. This is kind of a good idea. So you can beta test, right? A different thing that you're trying to launch, in your team. For example, weekly demos. You can beta test that. You can say, all right, we're going to do a pilot program where we're going to beta test a demo recorded every week. And every other week when we have our sprint review, we will have that recorded as well. But, now we're adding 2 demos a week instead of just 2 demos every 2 weeks. 2 demos every sprint instead of just 1. So you're doubling your output of videos and you're doubling your output of demos. This gives greater visibility into the software, and it can help build a team culture of change by doing it that way. All right, so which one of these were valuable? Comment below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you want any help with this, I've got a link in the description. You can book a call with me. I'd love to get to know you and meet you. And we'll catch you again next time.